Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and before I do begin, I want to say one thing. I messed with the recording to this, so I have to re-record it. Isn't that quite fun when that always fucking happens? Yeah. Anyways, now, I'm going to be trying to re-record this, and hopefully it does have the same tone. And with that being said, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of things have happened. We had Deku, we had Kentaro, and we also had Wes. These three headed out to try and hunt down the Yellow Duchy, aka the Navajo werewolf. And things took a bit of a turn. Deku, while he was Heat Blast, was able to fight this thing. He actually managed to get it on the run. However, when it returned back on a human, it attacked him. It scratched the Omnitrix along with part of Deku's arm, and Deku had to fire at it using the energy pistol he had, and it ran off. Now, Deku, he had his wounds tended to inside the rust bucket, and Wes had a lot of things going through his own mind. Izuku, his problem puts them on a bit of a timetable. After he was scratched by that monster, it is believed, thanks to their legend, that he is going to turn into one. And that is a very, very big problem. Right now, there's only really one way to combat this, and that is simple. First, they gotta find the Yellow Duchy. Then, they have to actually get the nectar of a rare cactus plant and, well, use a silver coin and place it to the monster's heart. That should destroy it, and Izuku should turn back to normal. Now, that's easier said than done. Right now, Deku, Gramps, and Wes are heading out to find the monster, while Mina and Kai are right now heading out to find the plant. Now, with that all being said, let's currently pick up to Deku and, well, the old guys. Where right now Izuku, he currently is larger in size. He is about the size of the monster. However, right now he doesn't have the full features, and he actually is kind of intrigued by a lot. I mean, his sense of hearing got better, his sense of smell got better, and he really just wants like a plate of meat. He just doesn't know. He feels very weird. Hungry? Wait, what was that? Deku turning his head. I don't know, Ken is gonna try and ask if Izuku is gonna hear something. I'm fine, Gramps. Hang on. What is it? Shh. No, never mind. I thought I heard something moving. But it could just be my ears. Honestly, a little weirded out by all this. I feel different. Good or bad? Don't know yet. Though, I'm trying to pick up on that smell. Smell? Yeah. I've been picking up a bit of a weird scent. We're by the third cave, right? We should be. Then I'm going to turn to Wes, as he says don't talk about it. They still have yet to check it out. They were on the way whenever they found it, remember? Right now, they gotta hope it's there, because otherwise, if it's not, it will be a bit of an issue. Now, Deku, he currently does start to make his way to the third cave. Him somewhat deciding to run on all fours and get a bit ahead, since if he can track it, then he can find it. And he actually is very intrigued. Right now, him somewhat going to sit there and try and get a bit of a whiff around the area. And it's not here. And that has been quite a lot. Him going to stand up onto his feet. Ash and the two, they do come running up. Them seeing the creature as Deku's turn. Wes bringing up his rifle and shouting out for Izuku. And Deku, he does bring his hands up. Whoa, 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 it's me! Now, the two do start Deku. And Deku, he could actually look down at his left arm. Since, wait, what? Now, Deku doesn't see the Omnitrix. And that does somewhat surprise him. The bandage on his arm is still there, but the Omnitrix is gone. Where did it go? Now, that's going through Deku's mind. And Izuku, he doesn't hear a sound. Rhino is large ear, so I'm going to move. And he actually just won't react to it. Him is going to run off on all fours and chase, since he's pretty sure he hears it. Now, the two do get a turn, and they do at least get a run after Izuku. Now, currently we do actually cut over to Mina and Kai. And Kai, yeah, she was definitely a lot more intrigued finding out that Mina had a crush on Izuku. I mean, apparently the guy's her best friend, and she's known him for a few summers, and she does want to at least know what's going on with that. Now, Mina isn't really too sure to talk to Kai about this. I mean, she's teasing her and trying to make fun of her. And I know Kai does talk about a few things, as she currently is trying to look around for the plant. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, Izuku, he is a bit, well, weird, but weird is sometimes good, right? What do you mean? Well, I'm just saying, you like him, and I mean, as much as I understand, with how quirks operate, it's gonna be interesting. But the Omnitrix is not a quirk. I know, but I'm talking about you. I mean, how does your power actually work? I don't really know, actually. I'm still figuring that out on my own. Mina, bring her hand up, talking about it. I mean, she just could always do this type of stuff. Really? Yeah, it's not that hard. At least not for me. I mean, but Izuku and I, that's a lot more personal. What do you mean personal? He's smart, intelligent, and as far as I know, he knows how to use that watch. Plus, he turned into that cool wolf thing. Or he's turning into it. Alright, we gotta fix that. Kai, so I'm gonna turn and talk about it, asking Mina if she found anything. And Mina does a turn. Her, we're going to actually pull up a plant, asking if this is the one. And Kai's going to run over, talking about how that would be it. Now, Kai's going to pull out her phone. Her, we're not trying to call her grandpa. And Kai does at least look up, as right now in the distance, they do get to see a flare rising up. And that does mean quite a lot. And there actually is Mina. Mina does a turn, and bring her hands down. Right now, her going to create a platform as Kai does a stand on it. And the moment Mina does make it go airborne, Kai's going to reach out and grab onto Mina's arm. Her right now somewhat yelling out about how she better not drop them. And Mina somewhat smiled, since this is going to be payback for all the things that she's been saying. And Mina, she currently is going to take Kai on a bit of a joyride through the air, since she's also trying to understand how this all does work. She's ridden the hoverboard, so she does have a basic understanding of how to keep her feet planted. And Kai's just holding on for dear life. Now, we do actually cut to Izuku, who right now is facing off against the werewolf. And he actually is a lot more surprised. I mean, the thing is powerful and strong. And Kai was not joking. A scream that can shake a mountain, loud as thunder, like lightning crackling. It's definitely intriguing. And currently Deku does a rush at the creature. Right now it trying to roll and dodge out of the way. As Deku does a land, he has a turn, swiping a rock directly through the air and smashing it into the creature's face. It gonna rush at him as Deku does at least open his mouth. Him letting out a scream as the creatures are trying to dig his hands down. It trying to let out its own scream as Deku does try to keep his more powerful. And while the ground is shaking, there actually is Ken and West, who, both of them, they do to aim their weapons. Currently the two firing off at the creature as whenever does at least turn and react to their ammo, Deku does to rush forwards. Him now rushing in and throwing himself on top of the creature. Him smashing down and punching it across the face, as he has to punch it directly in the nose. And the moment he does, the creature's senses start to go wild. It letting out a scream as Deku, he actually sent flying off of the creature. Deku does a smashing upwards onto the side of a mountain. And currently Deku's gonna bring his hands down onto the side. Him going onto the mountain, and actually someone to flip his body. Right now Deku, someone's staying there like a spider on a wall. And he doesn't stare down. The creature, growling at him, and gonna actually open his mouth. However, Deku, he doesn't do one thing. He doesn't open his mouth and fire down at the ground. This time, I'm gonna leap upwards into the air, as right now Deku does actually find something quite interesting. He can use this ability to increase jumping. And this creature is already pretty powerful on its hind legs. Now, Deku makes the ground unsteady, and the creature, it actually does start having its feet go unstable. And Deku is smashing down right onto the creature. The two gonna roll as Deku is trying to bite down into his shoulder and bring his hand up. Him trying to at least take out the snout as they're actually ready to get onto his feet. Him spinning the creature around and seeing it flying at the mountain. It smashing into the wall and actually landing on the ground. It's gonna try and get back up as it actually just won't turn. Right now Wes and Ken bring up their own weapons as the creature does a turn to look at them and Deku's gonna go rushing back in. Him actually gonna someone grab down at the creature and pull it up into the air. Him smashing his face against it as is to show off a bit more animal ferocity. Now, Deku's gonna bring his hand up, him grabbing the creature by its snout and forcing its head into the wall. Ashura and Deku's gonna bring it backwards and smash against the wall, over and over and over. And Deku, he actually gonna turn. This time, I'm gonna chuck the creature as though smashing back onto the ground. And Deku's gonna at least run, leaping up into the air and smashing down onto his chest. Him gonna actually turn and throw it towards the wall this time and let out a bit more of a sonic scream. This time the creature being smashed into the wall, and the scream is at least unsteady and cause a landslide. Ken and Mark backing away as the creature is buried under some rubble. Now, Deku, he does actually something stare on, and the creature itself, it does not get back up. And Izuku, he actually doesn't stand there, him panting heavily. And there actually is Ken and Wes. The two stare on. And right now Wes, he's thinking about using his marksmanship to at least get something on Izuku. Make sure he has a clear line of fire. And that actually does somewhat make Wes a bit more uneased. However, Izuku does get a turn, staring at both of them. And right now Wes, he does at least reach down for his weapon. Ken going to actually bring his hand up to stop him and asking if that's still Izuku in there. And Deku doesn't bring up his hands. Him talking about it. It's still him, Grandpa. Though, I just gotta say, that definitely was cool. Now, right now Wes is walking over, and Mina and Kai do come flying down. However, Kai herself is still holding onto Mina for dear life. And Mina is going to walk up, as Kai herself does at least try and save face. Her going to run up to her grandpa and hand over the fruit, trying to talk about a few more things. And right now the man, he has to get a few things ready. I'm going to turn and tell Izuku that they don't have much time, and that if they're going to do this, they need to get it secured and on its feet. And that does mean quite a lot. And Deku doesn't understand. Him talking about how all of them need to stand back. Him turning back to the rubble and going to bring his hands down. Him letting out another sonic scream as he does try to at least break up the rocks. And the Yenodushi, it actually is able to get back on his feet. Right now it's going to leap up and turn and look around. And it is going to rush towards Izuku. And Deku, he actually does bring his hands up. Him rushing at it as there actually is Mina, who's going to throw her hands outwards and create a construct. Her wrapping up the creature and actually going to cover its snout. And there actually is Deku, who's going to smash the creature across the face. And he actually doesn't stare on. Him looking at Mina. And right now Mina is talking about it. If he could hold it back, that'd be nice. Now, Deku's going to walk around behind it, bring his hands up, and going to lock it in place. And right now just don't talk about it. He hopes that Wolfie doesn't feel too bad about this. Though, he does like being human. I mean, he does like a lot of things about being human. But not being covered in fur and itchy all the time is one of them. Now, Mina does get a turn and talk about how they're ready now. as Wes does it get things prepared, pulling the coin from his pocket and cutting open the cactus fruit. However, Mina's gonna turn to Kai. Her gonna somewhat smile and let out her tongue, showing that her and Izuku, they do work pretty well together. Now, Kai is gonna somewhat roll her eyes. Her staring on. She totally has a crush. Now, there currently actually is Wes, who does a run over and bring up the coin, placing it on the thing's hard as nothing. Izuku currently going to step backwards, and the moment he does, he's going to fall onto his feet. Izuku, a lot more alarmed. He needs a second to catch his breath. Now, Deku feels a massive amount of pain in his torso, and he's not too sure what this thing would have done. However, it currently does a turn, it rushing towards Izuku and throwing him through the air. However, it does a turn back, bringing its hand up and trying to pull this makeshift muzzle off of its face. And currently, it does try to let out a scream. However, Mina does try to hold it back. The thing staring at her and bringing its arms up, smashing into the ground as Mina, she actually is knocked off of her feet. And when the moment she does hit the ground, she does go to actually release her control over her power. And the thing does let out a scream. Currently, everybody being thrown backwards as their ears start to ring. And the creature does a turn and run off. And Izuku, he has to get back onto his feet. Currently, him going to actually turn and start to scale up the mountain. Him trying to give chase. However, there is a familiar sound Izuku really does not want to hear, and that is the Omnitrix going to start beeping. Now, Deku, he actually starts to fall. And whenever he actually does, there is Mina, who has to bring her hands up and catch him out of the air. And Deku, whenever he is lowered back down, he does try to ask about what happened. And everyone, they're not too sure themselves. I mean, Izuku had the Omnitrix symbol on his chest, or, well, abdomen, whatever, that's not important. The fact of the matter is, if the Omnitrix absorbed its DNA, if Izuku can turn into it, it's not of myth and legend. It's of extraterrestrial origin, right? I mean, it only makes sense. There's a ghost species already inside the Omnitrix, so they know about ghosts on their own planet, but this isn't some thing from their planet. It's extraterrestrial, an extraterrestrial werewolf. And that's super weird. Now, Wes himself is definitely a lot more surprised and confused. However, everybody, they do go to head back to the rust bucket, since they need to gather their own thoughts. Now, Wes does it to contact Phil. And Phil, he is kind of surprised hearing about the situation, since he's going to need to reschedule that delivery. He doesn't need it to, well, meet him halfway. He now needs that delivery to come all the way from Washington, D.C. to New Mexico. And that is a hefty, hefty ask. Now, the man doesn't understand, and he does try to explain. He can get it done, but it's going to take a bit more time, especially because he's not going to be driving anymore if this is supposed to be a one-way trip, not a halfway meetup, because he's not going to drive all the way there and back. He's going to stop by somewhere, and hopefully he'll be there at least by tomorrow. And things are set up that way. And Deku himself, he's a lot more intrigued. And everybody, they do try to regroup and gather together, trying to understand what to do about this creature. We do actually have later. They all plan to wait. Let the creature come to them. And that is the main thing. The creature is looking for tech. Clearly it's stealing parts for a reason. And that means quite a lot. So, what they are going to do is very, very simple. Let it go into town. Before it has a chance to take anything, take it down. And that's exactly what they do. Now, when the creature does get back onto the reservation land, they do go to enact their plan. And Deku, he's made things quite simple. I mean, it didn't take gray matter to make the plan, but it was still kind of a simple yet easy one. they have an entire scrapyard nearby. The place where the Yenodushi, it does take tech and metal from. I mean, it's where it's been spotted the most. So, how do they use that to their advantage? It's simple. You get forearms to build a big old pile of trash up, and you then have it come tumbling down on the creature. And that's exactly what they did. Right now the trap is set. The only problem is getting it there. And currently there actually is the creature, which is moving around and walking around on the reservation. As Izuku, he has actually turned into Accelerate. Him looking over towards everyone and talking about it. Gotta run! Him bolting off. And currently there actually is Mina, who is in her assigned position with Kai. And Wes and Ken, the two talk about it. They're wondering how well the kids might be able to handle this. I mean, so far it's a good plan, and it's kind of surprising. For a first mission, they might be doing pretty good. And Wes does talk about it. That is very true, though execution of the plan, that still has yet to turn its head in success. Now, Wes and Ken do somewhat wait to hear back, and they're actually Suzuku, who does go running up to the creature and smacking it. It currently trying to look around for what happened, especially since it came in fast and disappeared fast. And Izuku, he does do the exact same thing. Him running around the creature and making sure to get its attention. Now, whenever Deku does finally going to come to a full stop, he's going to bring up the mask on Accelerate. Him bringing his hands up and going to talk about it. Catch him if you can! I'm going to turn and bolt away. And the creature, it does stare on. It's going on a full-on sprint, trying to catch up to Izuku. However, Izuku, he has to do a few things. He can run circles around the sky. So, what's the best thing to do? Piss him off and keep his attention. Izuku's got an idea. If they can probably make this thing shoot the trap itself. I mean, it hates being hit on the nose. That creature has very, very sensitive senses. And if he's right, dogs don't like being bonked in the face like that either. So, him coming back around. We're not going to trip the creature as it's going to run by. The creature falling on all fours and rolling forwards. Izuku going to walk up. Chris going to bend down and stare at the creature, bringing his hands up and going to slap it 3 times in the face as he's going to talk about it. The creature recoiling backwards, bringing his hand up to its snout. Going to bring his hands up again. Catch him if you can! I'm going to turn him off. And the creature does get angry. It's letting out a powerful howl, as right now it does a turn and rush forwards, trying to keep up with Izuku. And Deku, he doesn't lead it to the scrapyard. Currently going to stand there, as right now the creature does come running through the gates. It's very, very angry. And it does try to rush to Izuku. And Deku, whenever it does go to rush towards him, he does have to do one thing. He does go to move. Going to actually run back up to the creature and bring his hand out, smashing his fist right up into its snout. The creature recoiling backwards right into the trash mound. And Deku's a turn, shouting out now as it'll run off. And while he actually does go to run to the safe spot, he has to actually time out. Running across the ground as Mina's a stand up, her blasting out with her arm and smashing it into the trash, as Kai herself does a hold onto her weapon. Now, whenever she has a blaster to the trash, the creature does a turn. It trying to actually scream out and stop the trash from hitting it, trying to perform a move to give itself a protective layer, if not at least make sure to not be covered in debris to the point of, well, being taken out. Now, Kai does shoot the creature right in the back. Now shooting it as Rhino does somewhat fall forwards. It right now actually going to be covered in the trash as it is also injured. Now, right now Kai immediately turn and look at each other. Them both excited that the plan actually went down pretty well. Now, Deku, he does come walking over. However, he also is covered in dirt. And he does get to pull a thorn out of his side. Especially because he thinks he rolled over a cactus. Now, Izuku, he does try to talk about it. However, Kai does go to someone laugh. and so does Mina. And 3, they do try and celebrate a first successful mission. Now, the creature it is apprehended, and later that night, Phil is going to arrive. He got caught up with a mission nearby, especially because this one kinda did pop up out of nowhere. So yeah, he dealt with that because it was on the way. Sorry about delays, everyone. That being his excuse. And the Yonalduchi is sent into the null void. And Deku, Mina, and Kai, they get to see this thing in action. And Deku, he was kind of alarmed, especially because it was a hole to another dimension. I mean, it's a dimensional gun. How cool is that? Now, Deku, he showed how excited he was to see this thing. And there actually was Kai and Mina. The two were both kind of alarmed. However, there actually was Ken, who did come walking over, introducing Phil to his grandson. And Phil was definitely a lot more surprised. Him bringing his hand out introducing himself as Magister Phil. Now, Deku is someone going to turn his head staring at the guy. Magister? Right. Still training. Only been, how long? Few days. Officially, this is his first real mission. Though, the boy did take down Vilgax. Right. Plenty of experience already. Plus, with the Omnitrix, you're pretty well equipped. Thanks. Now, he has a turn, introducing himself again and giving the two the similar speech. However, he doesn't want to tell Kai. She did pretty well. Listen to West, because he does know his stuff. Also, the guy is old and stubborn. He's hard to kill. So, she can probably learn a thing or two from him. Now, Kai does not disagree. And Deku, he even does think about the same thing with his own grandpa. However, it does also make Deku think of Mark. Now, Deku's mood does somewhat go down a bit. However, there actually is Ken, who, whenever Phil is going to leave, since he did go to drop off the proper equipment, he didn't decide to stick around. He's got a lot of work to do. And right now, without that null void gun, he's got to figure out a solution. Now, Deku, yeah, he did get to say goodbye to Wes, and he also got to say goodbye to Kai. And Kai, she hugged Mina, talking about how maybe they'll see each other again one day. I mean, if they're all going to be plumbers, that does mean that they'll all work together. At least every now and again. And Kai did go running over to Izuku. Her and going to somewhat pull him into a hug, talking about it. Maybe one day they will meet again. I mean, it is a possibility. Also, she thought it was really cool how they took it down. Plus, it was really fun. Her is going to give Deku a kiss on the cheek. Before going to turn and run off. And right now Ken does just stand there with his arms crossed. Him staring at Izuku, as he is going to turn his head and stare at Kai. And Mina, she just won't stand there. Her a lot more annoyed. As right now Ken, he does going to talk about it. Right now, they've all done one simple thing. They managed to capture and send an alien into the null void. So, does both of them know what that does mean? Now, Deku does turn to Mina, and Mina does still somewhat have a weird look on her face. What? Deku turning back to his grandpa. It means we get to celebrate. So, not gonna lie, I was hoping things would be simple and easy. So, I went out and got a movie earlier. I also got some snacks. So, how do you both feel about milkshakes in a movie? Deku turning to Mina, and Mina herself does get a smile. Her and I are going to turn and bolt towards the rust bucket, talking about how she calls dibs on Rocky Road. Now, Deku does a turn, him yelling out, "Nuh-uh, he got it. He's got it first." Now, Deku does bring his hand down, him trying to use the Omnitrix. since right now Accelerate would probably be the best one. However, Mina does at least try and fly towards the rest bucket, her using her powers. And Deku himself, he talks about how that's not fair. And there currently actually is Ken, who does just want to smile and walk back to the rest bucket himself. Since, yeah, letting them have this small little victory, it's good. They're not thinking about what happened. It should not be on their minds. I mean, they can learn from it, but not let it eat them up inside. That's what they've got to do. Though he himself still needs to try and live by that lesson. Now, Candace get back to the rest bucket, and Deku and Mina, the two just won't argue about a few things. And Deku, he's not too sure why Mina is acting weird. However, we do currently have over with somebody else. The good Dr. Animo. He has a few plans he wants to enact, and a few things he does want to do. Get revenge on some people who stole his award. Get some revenge on a few people who called him a crazy psycho doctor. Yeah, that guy's not even school shit. Anyways, now, well, Animo is going to enact his own plans with the alien tech he so miraculously discovered and figured out how to reverse engineer. He is not the first to reverse engineer alien tech. I mean, he's not even the first one who figured it out. They did that a long, long time ago. And they have their own plans. The good doctor has done a few things. And currently, whenever things do go through, they should be the only ones who win. The only ones who have the power to do anything. Their goal, it's beyond human understanding, because some humans can't comprehend what's out there. And that does mean quite a lot. And the good doctor, he's already reviewed success after success of his experiments. And that means quite a lot. If things do go well, then the Forever Knights, they win. They will always win. And that is the greatest victory yet. Because they've already managed to do one thing that should be impossible. They took away somebody's powers. Not just in a figurative sense. Literally. They discovered how to turn people back to regular humans. And this discovery was not without flaws and not without great delay. Though the key to their victory fell into their lap. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.